Now let us see what is the air standard cycles. Right. In this discussion of our refrigeration and air conditioning, we will come across two different cycle. One is known as your vapor compression cycle and another one is your air standard cycle, or you can say gas cycles. What is the basic difference between these two cycles are? One, the most basic difference between these two cycles is your that in the gas refrigeration cycle there is no phase change, right? In complete cycle only the phase which is flowing throughout the cycle will be the gaseous phase, but in vapor compression cycle in half of the cycle the phase will be the gas phase and in another half of the cycle it is in the liquid phase. So in vapor compression cycle we will go and discuss in detail when we discuss the vapor compression cycle, that in vapor compression cycle phase change will occur, but in the gas refrigeration cycle there is no phase change, only the gas is flowing throughout the cycle. This is the basic and most important concept. So we can say that in air standard cycle these cycles are the general class of a gas refrigeration system, right? There is a gas refrigeration system which worked on your, you can say, the reversed Brayton cycle, or also we can known as Bell-Coleman cycle. We will discuss it. It is a general class. The most important thing which you have to take care in the air standard cycle or the gas refrigeration cycle is, the most important is, there is no phase change. There is no phase change, right? Only the gas phase will be present throughout the cycle, unlike the case of vapor absorption cycle or vapor compression cycle, where in half of the cycle gas phase is there and another half of the cycle liquid phase is there. But in the gas cycle complete gas phase will be flowing throughout the cycle and through all of the system or through all of the devices like compressor, turbine, condenser, evaporator, complete only this gas is flowing. So if there is no phase change occur, so we can say that all the heat transfer process, whether the heat is rejecting to the surrounding or whether the refrigerant, which is air or some gas, the refrigerant is taking some heat from the body, from that body where the lower temperature we have to maintain, all those heat transfer which are associated in that cycle will be the sensible heat transfers. Only sensible heat is flowing, right? Only the sensible heat is associated with the gas refrigeration cycles. But if you say in case of your vapor compression cycle where the phase change will occur, latent heat as well as the sensible heat will come into picture, but in this case only the sensible heat will come into picture, right? There is no mention of the latent heat because no phase change is there. So if the, you can say, if heat transfer is the sensible heat transfer, then because of that temperature is increasing, right? Temperature is increasing if the heat is added, and if heat is rejecting then temperature is decreasing. So it is, you can understand it. So all the heat transfer process related with this gas refrigeration cycle is the only the sensible heat transfers. Now for the air standard cycles there are some assumptions which we have to take. These are the important assumptions. The first assumption is, if we talk about the air standard cycle, if we talk about, then the first assumption is your that the working fluid, that is the air, will behave like as an ideal gas. This will behave like as an ideal gas, right? Ideal gas, we consider this air as an ideal gas. All the process within the cycle, all the process, whether it will be compression, expansion, heat addition, heat rejection, all the process within the cycle, we are talking about within the cycle, are reversible. That means cycle must be internally reversible, right? Cycle must be internally reversible. Third most important assumption is that specific heat of air or you can say specific heat of the gas will remain constant throughout the cycle. Specific heat will not be a function of temperature or pressure. In that case, you can say that specific heat is not a function of temperature or pressure. Specific heat will remain constant throughout the cycle. And the fourth important assumption is that cycle is assumed to be a closed loop cycle. Cycle is assumed to be a closed loop cycle. We are assuming that is a closed loop. And this inlet and outlet process, we are replacing them with the help of your heat transfer process, right? So heat transfer process is there. If you see that in that case, that in condenser heat is rejected to the surrounding, in the evaporator heat is going into the refrigerant, and so on. So you have to be very clear. This is the basic concept here, right? They are working as a closed loop. So we can take that cycle as a closed cycle. So all the formulas of thermodynamics which are applicable for a closed system. Why this assumption I write here? Because we have to write the formula for heat transfer or work transfer, entropy change, so on. We have to write some of the equations. So if I say that the cycle is assumed to be a closed loop cycle, that means all the formulas of closed system which we earlier teach or which we already know through the thermodynamics is applicable in this air standard cycle. This is the important thing, right? When we solve the reversed Brayton cycle and so on, or vapor compression cycle, I directly write the heat transfer of closed system and heat transfer or work transfer of closed system. Then there is a chance, there is a click in your mind that why we are using the formula of closed system here. Because we are taking this cycle as a closed system, there is no leakage, we are assuming that, and there is no mass flow rate. So this cycle will work in a closed loop. That's why we are using the complete, all the equations, all the formulas of closed system in this refrigeration and air conditioning. This is the important thing. So don't write the equations or the formula of open system, right? Only closed system we are talking about. If we'll see that if you study the compressor as a system, we will study it later. There is no point to talk here in this at this point, that you will not be able to catch it. Okay. So we are treating this complete cycle. Again, I am treating this complete cycle as a closed loop cycle or as a closed system. So equation of the closed system will be applicable. Next, the first cycle which we are going to study is the reversed Carnot cycle, right? Carnot cycle we studied in your thermodynamics, that Carnot cycle is the ideal cycle for the work producing devices. If you want some work like turbine is there, so for them Carnot cycle is the idealized cycle for the power producing device. So in the same manner, reversed Carnot cycle, right? If you remember in thermodynamics, when I draw the Carnot cycle, I draw it in the PV coordinates or temperature entropy coordinates in clockwise direction. So in the clockwise direction, we say that if any cycle in the coordinate planes go in the clockwise sense, then it is a power producing cycle, and if it is going anti-clockwise, then it is a power consuming cycle. And we know that all the cycles in the refrigeration system or air conditioning system, all the cycle will be the power consuming, work consuming cycle. Why? Because we have to transfer the heat from lower temperature body to higher temperature body. So we have to give some work. That work is consumed by the system. So if that is the case, then all the cycles will be in the anti-clockwise sense in the RAC and in your air conditioning. Just remember this, right? Same thing we are going to discuss. We are going to discuss in the power plant. In power plant, same thing are going on. Here we have vapor compression cycle. In power plant we have Rankine cycle. Here we have reversed Brayton cycle. In power plant you have Brayton cycle. If you draw the cycle clockwise, The devices are same, compressor is there, expansion is there, turbine is there, the devices are same. If you reverse the direction, then it will be a turbine in clockwise sense, and in anti-clockwise sense it will be your refrigerator, right? The thing is same. So we can say that reversed Carnot cycle, if I reverse the direction of that Carnot cycle, it is the ideal refrigeration cycle for constant temperature external heat source and heat sink. If you have two thermal reservoirs, again I am saying it is thermal reservoir whose temperature is not changing by any amount of heat transfer to it, right? From thermodynamics we know what is source, what is sink, right? So if you have a source and a sink, and if you want to run a refrigerator cycle between them, then the ideal refrigerator cycle is the reversed Carnot cycle. And in reversed Carnot cycle we have four process. First process 1 to 2 is your reversible adiabatic compression, right? All the process will be reversible only, we know this in the Carnot cycle. So first is reversible adiabatic compression, right? Compression is there, you compress the air or you compress the gas, reversible adiabatic manner. Then there is isothermal heat rejection, right? Isothermal heat rejection to the surrounding, or you can say to any higher temperature body. Then third process is reversible adiabatic expansion in a turbine. In a turbine we have to expand that air or that gas. And fourth one is reversible isothermal heat absorption. That refrigerant, which is air or gas, will absorb some heat from the space which you want to maintain a temperature lower than that of the surrounding temperature. So these are the four processes. All the four processes are reversible. First is adiabatic compression, then heat rejection, isothermal, then adiabatic expansion, then isothermal heat absorption. So this is the reversed Carnot cycle. If I want to draw it on PV and TS coordinate diagrams, if we want to draw this, let us say this is the process 1 to 2. This is the process 1 to 2. This is reversible adiabatic compression, right? If this is compression is there, then pressure is increased, volume is decreased. So this is reversible adiabatic compression. Then we have reversible isothermal heat rejection. So if heat rejection is there, then let us say this is the reversible heat rejection, isothermal heat rejection. We know how to draw the isothermal curve, and if heat rejection is there, then this volume will decrease. Let us say this is the isothermal heat rejection. So this is 2 to 3. We have to draw it in anti-clockwise manner. Then 3 to 1 it is reversible. 3 to 4 it is reversible adiabatic expansion. If expansion is there, then volume is increased, pressure is decreased. So let us say this is the adiabatic expansion, 3 to 4. Then 4 to 1 we have isothermal heat rejection or heat absorption. Then let us say this is isothermal heat absorption, right? This is isothermal heat absorption. So this is your PV diagram of reversed Carnot cycle, right? So this is the compression. So some work is consumed, right? Work consumed by some compressor. Some heat is rejected. Let us say heat rejection. QR is the heat rejected from here. This is the expansion. Then in expansion, some work in turbine, some work will be there. System will do some work. You will get some work. Let us say W2E is the work done by this turbine. And this is the heat absorption. So some heat is going inside the system. Let us say heat supply is QS. QS is the heat supply. So this is the PV diagram. Now if you want to draw the TS diagram,